Hello and welcome to the Captain's Table, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Paul Berserker01 Batman Shelley, your humble host and space bartender here at the AstroPub, and your facilitator with the Captain's Table. We've got a great show tonight. I can't do that. I can't do the Johnny Carson thing. We've got a really good show.
Try. Try.
I'm going to try, but we've got a good show talking about the most up-to-date news and just kind of discussion about the most up-to-date news with Star Citizen. We have 3.17.2 going into PTU. We have events that were happening this weekend and a free flight coming up. And before we get into that, though, let's introduce all of the cast members. We'll start with you, Naz. Naz, who are you? What do you do in Star Citizen, and where can they find you?
Well, when my internet is working, which has not been this week, I stream Star Citizen and many other games on Twitch. I also make videos on YouTube for various different sci-fis, mostly sci-fis, but I do also dabble in some game dev because I do have a long track record of not finishing my hobbyist game dev projects. But yeah, I do a lot of those. I try and get into the little bit more detailed versions of what Star Citizen mechanically is. Also, because I've been researching and trying to get into game dev, I know a little bit of how the process works, so I have a little bit of knowledge about that. So both on Twitch and YouTube, and hopefully more content will be coming out very soon. I am planning to start up read-throughs of starting with the Galactopedia, and then moving on to other lore posts just to put them in audio content format.
Nice.
On YouTube.
Yeah. And you also do the what is it? The Pathfinders podcast?
How did I forget that? I have no idea. Yes, me and Tree 0311 do the Pathfinder podcast, which is the more like we take subjects and boil them down so that we can get the entire answer to where these are, what they are, and stuff like that on there. And that will be coming up this week on YouTube, but normally every Monday.
Yeah.
Over on Twitch.
If those of you who caught the, I guess now it's Astro Historian video on the UEE Marines, that was Tree who helped me out with that one. So, so if you enjoy that, they do like really good in-depth breakdowns of very specific things. Like they'll talk about server meshing, they'll talk about persistence, they'll talk about quanta, they'll talk about specific elements in there for like 2 to 4 hours sometimes. So if you really want to know that information, check out that podcast. And it's Nazeris YT on Twitch and Nazeris on YouTube, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. Same logo.
Then we've got the Sultan of Salt himself, Mr. HCVertigo. Who are you? What do you do in Star Citizen, and where can they find you?
I am HCVertigo. I stream a lot of Star Citizen, do a lot of Star Citizen content. Mostly just waiting for the next patch these days. It feels like Paul. Just waiting for like new stuff to come out. Do YouTube videos occasionally. I'm still working on. I got an idea for one I'm working on, but it's just trying to plan it out, see how I want to present the information and whatnot the video is going to have in it. But you can find me over on twitch.tv/HCVertigo. You can find me on YouTube, HCVertigo on there. You can find me on Twitter, HCVertigo over there. Love the branding. It's all unified. Just gotta search for HCVertigo and you'll find my stuff.
I tried.
That's beautiful. I screwed up too because now technically the account that this is being uploaded to for YouTube is TheAstroPub Live. So I screwed that up too. So
you have like multiple YouTube channels. So
I now have 4 YouTube channels.
Single to double.
Yeah.
Well, you should do the AstroPub 2 channel.
Yes.
Like so many people just like, I need a second channel to dump stuff that's not supposed to be on my channel name too.
Yeah. The algorithm is not kind to people who upload too many things in too many different formats. So
yeah,
and that's just where I'm going to remind you all that make sure you hit that subscribe button if you've been enjoying the Captain's Table content all of this month. If you check out and say, hey, this doesn't look right, I should have been subscribed. You probably were. You probably still are, to the Astro Historian, which is now where my lore stuff goes to. This channel, the new channel on YouTube, is the AstroPub Live. It'll just say the AstroPub if you're looking at it. Make sure you subscribe to that, because that's where all of this content will be living from now until the heat death of the universe, likely. So just because YouTube...
Until we change the rules. I have altered the deal. Pray do not alter it further.
Until YouTube changes its mind on how it wants to work things, because it'll do it again at some point.
Oh, yeah. It will definitely...
Yeah.
Don't worry, the metaverse is coming.
It's. I'll also answer this because I know this is something that happens, gets brought up every so often. Is the reason why that had to happen was because YouTube actually punishes channels for uploading too frequently, unless you already have a install base. Yeah. Because the way that the algorithm works is it takes it about at least a day, between 1 and 3 days, for them to process your tags and your videos and see the initial reaction and see who they should be giving update, like pushing that content to. So like if you're watching this on YouTube right now, whatever you've watched before is going to be feeding into the algorithm, and then the algorithm will also pick up this video and look at what you've watched before, and then other people who watch similar videos to you, it will then recommend this video to those people. But that takes 2 to 3 days. So sometimes you'll see a video that kind of does really poorly in the first day or so, and then the day 2 or 3 days later it goes woo, because the algorithm catches it and goes, oh, this is the people we need to send it to, and starts sending it to those people. But if you upload too frequently, the algorithm resets. It doesn't have time to set up to catch, because then it moves on to your new video. So you can actually bury your own videos by accident doing that.
Yep.
So as a result, I had to move the content because I still want to produce all this content, but I just have to sort it properly. So. All right. But with that, let's begin with the discussion on hand. We're starting with you, Vertigo, on this one. For those of you who don't know, this weekend we had 2 events. We also, this week, we had an announcement that 317.2 is going to have a UEC and gear wipe. That means all of your AUEC going to be gone for 317.2. All of your purchased ships in-game will be gone, and any gear or equipment you purchased in-game will be gone as well from 317.2. But they'd already planned for an event for this weekend, and they said that if you did the events, you will get a stipend, like a little extra.
They'll give you
bonus
something.
Money. They'll give you something.
A mystery box.
Yes, for doing the
Boxes.
events. But you will
We
not.
don't know exactly what it is, but they're going to give you a thing, and it'll make you happy. Maybe.
So the question is, did CIG make a mistake by doing this event, and not just canceling these events and then just waiting for 317.2 to come out? Or is this still a good idea for the events? Vertigo, your thoughts on that?
Is it a mistake? Yes.
Okay. Why?
I think they got it backwards. I think, and a lot of people I think agree with me. I've been reading a lot of opinions on Twitter about this. This has lit a fire. This whole thing has lit a fire underneath the Star Citizen community recently, and there's some people who have told everybody, like, no, you're thinking about it wrong. And there's a lot of people like, well, what's the point of going to Jumptown to make money? Like, that was the whole point about Jumptown, was to lure people in to make a ridiculous amount of money so they can go buy ships, equipment, and stuff they couldn't usually afford, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I need to say something first, though. I probably should have said this first. I appreciate CIG giving us a heads up about the wipe and about the events coming up. Jumptown, Ninetails Lockdown. I appreciate the notification and the freefly. I love knowing about stuff in advance, so streamers can plan for it. We can announce that kind of stuff. I'm not upset by that stuff. I'm just upset by someone who scheduled this stuff, chose not to adjust the schedule after realizing that, hey, running the events first and then doing a wipe after, it's probably not nearly as optimal as it should be. But I get it. Like, you have to have content to draw people in, and they've had a whole bunch of people just join. It's like having, as a content creator, it's like having a tweet or a video go viral, right?
Yeah, they weren't planning on all of this attention,
So it's one of those things where you have to, like, you have all this attention on your game. We had a whole bunch of people sign for accounts. We have a whole bunch of new players, and we got to do something. We got to throw them a bone, right, to keep their interest, keep them from wandering away to, like, Battlefield 2042, Call of Duty,
Tarkov,
Starfield,
which just had its wipe.
Yeah, Tarkov, or because. And a lot of people make this complaint about Starfield. People are like, oh, Starfield is not going to kill Star Citizen. I agree, but Starfield is a piece of entertainment that does compete for everyone's attention span.
Time.
Yeah, time. Everybody only has so much time they can spend with a given product because they got jobs. They can't be. You can't be like me. You can't play video games for a living all day or day.
Aww.
Not everybody can be. Everybody, there's a lot of people who want to be.
I wouldn't suggest it. I wouldn't suggest it.
I would not recommend it.
I would not recommend it.
So yeah, I like the notifications. I do not like the timing, but I understand why the timing is what it is, because CIG wants to get their hooks into people. They want them to stick around with Star Citizen. They want to see the big bang stuff and like, oh, look at all so cool stuff that could be. So I don't know if we're going to see a lot of engagement with Jumptown. I missed Jumptown today because I've played Jumptown already, and it's just like whatever.
Yeah.
I missed Ninetails lockdown on the PTU because I took too long to arrive, and apparently it's like it rushes right through Ninetails right now.
Mm-hmm.
I was just like, I was going to try to buy some stuff from my Vanguard, and I spent like 10 minutes trying to. There was a bug with like the purchase screen. It took me a little while to find like the gun I wanted for my Vanguard nose, and I finally get everything hooked up, put together, start traveling 60 million kilometers from Microtech because that's where the new Reclaimer missions are. 600 million kilometers from Microtech out to like Cruel 5 or something. And I get out there, land at the station, set my spawn point, and the mission ends. Just as I finish setting my spawn point, I'm just like, oh, good Lord, please. I was joking about it too because of how long it took me to find the gun I wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
Not sure what else you want me to talk about, Paul.
That's fine. We'll get back to 317.2 and then some of the other stuff as well.
Okay.
Naz, your thoughts. Did CIG make a mistake by doing these events after knowing that they were going to have to wipe to continue to go forward with these events for this weekend?
So I'm going to give everyone's favorite answer. It depends.
Okay. Thank you, lawyer.
Because there are those that, like, those who know that the game currently is a tech demo and it's currently in its state to be tested. They now have the servers in the best way they're going to be with everyone having their current stats right now. So all their ships and all their guns that they currently have. Throwing these things out for those who just got on for from the Invictus, everyone gets to use their stuff that they now have right before the wipe. So for them, it's really good. For people who are playing the game that is Star Citizen, it's horrible because now you have absolutely zero reason, like Vertigo said, to play these two events, especially Jumptown, because that's just money making.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't have the landing that we would. They said that landings will be a thing in Jumptown on 317 too. So there's even a component missing with Jumptown because it's right before the release instead of after.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if either of them give reputation, either of these two events.
They do, but they give reputation with Crusader Security and
CDF, I think.
CDF. No, actually, no, not even CDF. It's just Crusader Security.
Really? Oh, I thought they were doing some with CDF these days. Oh, well.
No. CDF is CDF is the Ninetails, the Siege of Orison is CDF. And
Xenothreat.
Yeah.
I was doing the PTU today, and I saw myself getting rep with CDF. I think it was because I was doing the new rescue missions, the new ECN alerts.
Ooh,
nice. ECN alerts.
Yeah.
Okay, nice.
I think.
Yeah. So,
but I saw I had CDF reputation, so I must have been doing missions that gave me CDF rep.
Let's focus on that later, because we're going to talk about 317.
No, get it.
So
that's the only bit that we'll actually be able to transfer is that reputation. They've said they're going to try as much trickery as possible in the back end to make sure all of your reputation stays. So, for those actually playing the game right now on 317, if you're going to do anything in the game, go do something that gets you reputation, because that's the only thing worth doing anymore. So I actually, personally, I really like the wipe that's coming.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm really bad at getting to events because they're all combat focused. So I just kind of don't do events. So they don't really affect me personally.
Yeah, and
except for Xenothreat. I love Xenothreat because cargo.
Yeah, I was thinking about that too today. Like, a lot of the events really, really heavily focus on combat. Like, there's some non-combat stuff you could do with Ninetails Lockdown and Xenothreat, but you're going to be harassed the entire way there.
Yeah.
Honestly, with the cargo refactor, they have one very easy event they could do. Is basically take the cargo notifications that we get now and make them a dynamic event. Like, hey, this location needs X amount of resources. Go.
Outbreak or natural disaster on Hurston. Go.
Like, isn't that what spawned? Like, humanitarian efforts. Isn't that what spawned the Cargo Olympics?
Yeah.
Yeah.
In lore.
Yeah.
For those who don't know, there is an event called the Cargo Olympics, which is the idea of taking cargo from point A to point B, kind of like relay racing almost, but It's about how fast your ship can go, but also how fast your loader can load and unload things. So
a relay race with semis.
But space semis. So
yeah, space semis. Dang. Okay. Yeah. So I think I covered everything.
Yeah. Okay. I will say that I think it depends as well. I think for the new players, it's a good idea. And I understand that like CIG has to set these up, like they have to, for events and such, they have to buy additional servers ahead of time. They have to kind of get everything set up properly because it's not dynamic yet. So they were planning on doing it. They wanted to do it. The people had to spend time and effort. And so it's not that much of a problem, especially if we're going to get Jumptown and Ninetails lockdowns again, because we will. Because CIG knows that it's going to be a long road to Tipperelli. It's going to be a very long time before 3.18 comes out. So they're just going to try to distract us with all of the shinies between now and then. But yeah, it's not a bad thing. I do see it sucking some of the desire out, because like Qpan is in chat and is one of my mods, and he likes to say is that one of the major aspects of Jumptown was not just the space fighting, but the ground fighting, where people were trying to control, but also people trying to make as much money as possible, because the longer you stayed there, the more money you could accrue. And there's a huge risk versus reward. But then again, the more people you had, the less money you'd have overall, because you have to split that money. So there is this, like the larger the crew, the smaller the payouts, the smaller the crew, the higher the payouts, but the higher the risks. There's a lot of balancing risk and rewards, which makes that very fun, either to be a disruptor, to be an actual cargo hauler, to be whatever.
And some people just show up to smash everything.
Yeah.
Like, they didn't care to make it. They were just there to kill.
Yeah, but if there's nobody there, the incentive for those people to show up to do those things, which will allow those people who come in and just mess things up, it doesn't exist, So that's a problem, in the sense that, like, I would have much preferred them not to do Jumptown, but to do Xenothreat. Because I think if they did Xenothreat and Ninetails, people would be like, it's fine. But Jumptown was one of those things where it's like, it has to have that element of making
that monetary reward. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a big element. I agree with that, Paul.
Yeah. And for me, at the end of the day, the money doesn't really matter, because there could always be another wipe in 3.18. We don't know. But like, that's the incentive. It's the whole trying to get the players to get in the first place.
And that was like one of the things I saw a lot of streamers and content creators on Twitter talking about, was about the social aspect. The battles. It's not about the money we made along the way. It was about the enemies we killed.
Yeah.
I guess Buster would like that. That's why it sounds like something pretty Klingon, right? It's about it's about the glory of honorable combat.
Listen, the Jumptown, she gave a verbal interview for Jumptown documentary. She put it up there, and she's the one who basically coined the idea that Jumptown's about chaos and the thrill of the hunt. It's about, anytime someone says JT safe, you can just make them pay for it. Like.
But the thing is, this goes for all games that have mixed PvE versus with PvE and PvP, is you need to have sheep in order for the wolves to feed.
Yes.
You need to have those non-combat players to show up you have to have the herd for the wolves to feast on.
But you don't want people to be content. You don't want to feel like you're content while you're.
Yeah, you don't want to feel like you're content. If you're a sheep, if you're the sheep being fed on, you don't want to feel like you're the victim. You want to feel like you had some agency in avoiding that, even if you really didn't.
Yeah.
And so when CIG pulls out this whole reset after Jumptown thing, people show up to Jumptown, and it's like, well, the profit's not going to matter in a couple of weeks. So why the hell should I show up just to get brutalized? I guess I'll just go play Stellaris, or I'll go play Fall Guys, or I'll go play SimCity, or I'll go play.
Hey, you know what? I don't think there's a problem with like even playing the Ninetails Lockdown, because there's an event. Like the experience with Ninetails Lockdown was never really the money for me. It was always you're constantly going against wave and wave, and that last wave you're fighting the Ninetails, and there are 6 hammerheads and dozens of fighters, and it's like, I feel horrible, but great. Yeah, it feels like That's the point. It's supposed to feel like a slog. It's supposed to feel like you're going 9 rounds with it in a heavyweight boxing match and trying to survive that at the same time. It's not for everybody, but I can see that appeal. It's that
mostly my problem with Ninetails Lockdown was like there was so much stuff there that it was like Xenoth, right? Your frame rate starts to drop, everything starts teleporting, and it's just like. Yeah, it's hard. It's difficult to convince people sometimes for myself to play Star Citizen, and considering how unoptimal it is at the moment. In fact, I am going to say one nice thing today for CIG. Okay. I feel like frame rates are higher in the PTU.
All right.
Ooh, nice.
Hold on to that thought.
It may be just in my head, but I feel like I'm hitting 60 frames per second more reliably now.
We'll get back to that here in a moment. So, but yeah, I think to a degree, it's much ado about nothing. People talking about the events because it's like whatever. It's just a weekend. We'll get more in the future. I do get the concern where people have said, like for instance, I like Jumptown, and I don't know if anyone who knows me knows this because I spent 4 months of my life doing a documentary about it, like a legitimate documentary with documentary length and everything. So. I can say from a point of I guess authority that I like it, that I am a fan of Jumptown, and so I get why some people might say if this is your first Jumptown experience, you might go, why is everyone making a big deal about this? This is boring. So I get that, but overall, I think it's more of just it's fine. Do it if you want to, but there are other things like 317.2, which went to the PTU, which was a perfect timing for them. But before we get to that, let's also talk about the other thing that's going on. And we'll start with you on this one, Naz. 317.2 is out in PTU, but we're also getting a free flight on the 7th. So July 7th, which is, I want to say next Thursday. Next Thursday begins a free flight, which I imagine is only a couple of days. It's only probably 4 days or so. But there's going to be
until the 18th. So
for the 18th.
Yeah.
So
17th, 18th, that's almost 2 weeks.
Almost 2 weeks. Yeah. Wow. So it's going to be happening for almost 2 weeks. And they've said that it's most likely not going to include 317.2. It's just going to be 317.1. So with that in mind, the question is this a good or a bad thing? Is it good that we're doing another free flight so close to Invictus, and then also that it's still effectively the same stuff as Invictus was? Is this good, or would you have preferred them to wait until 317.2 was released? Naz, what are your thoughts?
Definitely have them wait. Yeah, it doesn't say in this month in Star Citizen, it doesn't say which patch is going to be on. Yeah, they definitely should have waited. So the big problem that everyone has with the Free Fly and Invictus is it's just that patch. There's a whole bunch of new stuff going on, including Invictus, which hits all the servers, so everyone has a bad time. The 0.1 patch is a great patch afterwards because you have then all the bug fixes in. The 0.2 would have been an even better patch because they have even more fixes for this main branch. And they have a whole bunch, like a ton of new content to go and see. Like, obviously, the people who got in for the Invictus Free Flight and stayed with the project haven't done everything in the game yet. I haven't even done everything in the game yet. But not having them have more content for the next free flight scene, like there are a good many people who play Star Citizen free flight to free flight.
Mm-hmm.
And those return people, which are kind of they are helping Star Citizen stay where it is as far as like the entire industry is concerned with its numbers, because everyone, like MMOs, live and die by their player count.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah,
and so the free flights and those inflation of new people or people that are coming back to the project are really good for the game itself. And if those people that came last time aren't coming back, it's going to be a worse free flight metrically. So
well, you're always going to have attrition in a game. You're always going to have people who try it out and choose not to come back.
Well, yeah.
But the idea is that every time you offer a free flight, you capture you capture a few more people.
Yeah.
Your player base grows.
Yeah, if you only get
your player base is
1%,
always growing.
if you only get 1% of the retention of the first free flight, you want to get like 1.5 the next, and 2, and then 3,
Right.
and then 4. You don't want to stay at 1% of that coming back every single time, because then it's like you're because the one thing that a lot of people don't know is that there are monetary. They have to buy more servers when free flight happens, which is going to cost them money. It costs a back end for the money, because the servers don't just exist magically. They have to effectively rent more server space from AWS. They have to spin up more.
Yeah, just because Amazon likes them a lot for working on their engine doesn't mean they're giving them free servers.
I figured they got like a deal or something with like the licensing for Lumberyard or something.
I'm
CIG
sure
gives them expertise and they get a sweetheart deal on AWS, but they're still paying something, I'm assuming.
Yeah, especially
Amazon has moved away from calling it Lumberyard. It's now some open source game engine project.
Yeah, it's like AWS Games or something like that, or I don't know.
Something like that. It's some weird acronym.
Yeah. I'll let you finish up now.
But
Sorry.
On top of that, it's also where news organizations that don't want to spend the money to play the game because reasons, I'm sure a lot of them don't. They can jump in during the free flight, get their information, write their article, and come back in the next free flight. Or those who do play from free flight to free flight. Gosh, that's so hard to say. Just to see the improvement, waiting for the game to improve to a point. There's literally no improvement. The game is, in a way, worse this free flight than last, because it's the same patch but no
free ships.
WoW event.
Yeah.
So, no, I think the free flight on 3.17.1 is actually a terrible idea.
Okay. HCVertigo, your thoughts?
On a free flight for 3.17.1?
That's what we're getting. We're likely getting a free flight for 3.17.1, which starts on the 7th instead of a 3.17.2. You think should they have held it off until 3.17.2 went live? Or
the problem is, okay, so I understand CIG's mentality here, because I've been with the project since 2013. I've been a full-time content creator for Star Citizen since 2016-ish, about towards the end of 2016, started 2017. I've seen a lot of patches come.
Yeah.
3.17.2 is not 3.17.2. 3.17.2 is like almost a 3.18. They're bringing some new tech online with 3.17. It's almost to the point where it's bumping it over to the next, where they need to upgrade the middle number.
Yeah.
Almost. And every time we have something that happens where they draw from the dev branch to upgrade some piece of technology, they got some graphics improvements coming in with Gen 12 with 3.17.2. They have some networking updates, I believe, which are coming out with 3.17.2 as well. I can't remember. They said there's some stuff wasn't going to come with 3.17.2.
Yes,
they were testing in Evocati or something.
There's some networking stuff they're doing to make it like the desync less problematic,
and less awful.
Like, when you see someone walking, they look like they're like doing tap dancing. If you know.
It was crazy. I was watching one of my buddies. I was playing with Dark and Yale on my stream the other day, and he was teleporting through walls and snapping right back into the middle of the room. He was teleporting across the room, coming back. Enemies were doing that. Players were doing that. They're fixing it up. It looks a little better from time to time, but you still see that warping effect where some guy just launches across the room super fast and then comes right back to where he is. Then he just kind of walks off.
Yeah,
and it's like, what's that CIG? So the problem is, for those of you who haven't been with the project long enough, the reason why I mentioned how long I've been with Star Citizen is every time you draw new technology from the developer branch, that prototype branch, and you start pushing it to live, you end up having major problems that have to be worked out in the wash. So a 3.17.2 patch will need like a 3.17.3 patch to kind of even out all the rough spots. I think 3.17.1 for a free fly is probably the best CIG can do right now. You can either deal with the known, the evil you know, or the evil you don't know.
Yeah.
And it's hard to tell when things go live. It's hard to tell how much stuff is going to break. Usually you fix it after you release it. So if you and this comes down to like a marketing thing, I think. The reason why they're running Jumptown now, the reason why they're running Ninetails now, the reason why they're doing a free fly now. Whole bunch of new accounts came in on that last free fly, and they want to capture even more. They want to keep those people here. They got that thunder, right? They had a whole bunch of new YouTube videos made recently by some bigger YouTube channels that don't associate with Star Citizen, Level Cap, Jetfrag.
Yeah.
They had a whole bunch of new streamers hit Star Citizen. Star Citizen was peaking really high recently on Twitch, which almost never happened outside of when Star Citizen, the official Star Citizen channel goes live.
Like top 10. channels.
In addition to that, they were also, at least last week, 2 weeks ago, they were the third largest growing
Subreddit.
gaming channel on
Subreddit.
on Reddit.
Yeah.
They
So
dropped
CIG's
down like
trying
instantly to like 128th, but
Yeah, CIG's trying to capture that lightning in the bottle right now.
Mhm.
That is their prime goal at the moment, is to get that growth, capture that growth, continue that growth, and they're just throwing all the growth strategies they can out there, and it seems like it's a fucking mess. But when you realize it's all marketing and they want to get new people into the project, new people don't give a shit about the wipe.
No,
they're going to start with nothing, and then they're going to end the week with nothing. Who gives a shit?
Yeah.
Right. But for people like me, I'm a full-time content creator. I don't give a shit either about the wipe, because Paul, do you care about the wipe, Mr. Zero to Hero?
I know. I like that. Please. Also, how many ships do you have duped in your accounts? Both of you. Too many?
Probably about 3.
0.
I got 4 Banu defenders.
Yeah,
and I stopped flying that son of a bitch when I got blown back into it and died. It's just like I landed on the surface of Cleo and
I
just
have not
stepped
played
out.
long enough. I've not played long enough to actually figure out how that bug works to actually make it happen. I think I've done in the past month or so. I've done maybe 2 cargo or 2 box missions.
Yeah. I mean, you can just take once. It can be once. Like you hit a 30K wrong, and then you got a dupe ship.
Oh, weird. No, I have a 0 currently.
I've experienced those patches though, where this is not a new bug, or this is not a new experience for some of us older players. We've seen patches back in the 3.3, 3.4 branches, 3.4 days. You claim the insurance on a ship, and you get a duplicate of the ship.
Yeah.
And you'd be scrolling for days to find the ships you want. That actually worked too.
That's the reason
in one
why
of them there was all the dupes wouldn't be able to actually load. So you'd be like, does this one work? Nope. Does this one work? Nope. Does this one work? Nope.
Yeah. And that's one of the reasons why the wipe's happening. So like I think most people are okay with the wipe because they're like, I don't have to like filter 400 missiles out of my inventory.
Yeah. I'm fine with it too. I got stupid amounts of inventory. I could just give up. And for me, I'll just make more money. I realized this a long time ago that Star Citizen is going to be infinite grind for me as a content creator for it. So whatever, just take my shit. I'll just keep grinding. I've already resigned myself to this task, this cross that I bear.
Yeah, the people I feel the worst for are the people that, like, when they log in their first time in Star Citizen after a wipe, they already have overstocked on the landing zones. They have to sell off to hold anything in their inventory. Those are the people I feel for, because they worked so hard when selling came out to actually work on their inventory to actually sell enough, and now they have to go and do it again. So, but for everyone else, I think it's good, especially like for the game at large. Like it's a good spot. Will they have to wipe again for 18?
Probably.
If they have to wipe again for 18, it's gonna be kind of weird because they just wiped the server.
I think the reason why they're wiping for 317.2 is because they don't have to wipe for 18.
Yeah,
because I'd rather because.
It depends. There could be some really big catastrophic error in the database that causes everybody to get twice as much bullshit.
Yeah,
and they just we're just gonna wipe the database again because we made a mistake. They could do it. They probably won't though.
Possible. They did say something a while ago, I think in a monthly report or something, about them actually having a technology to transfer the item system to the entity graph so that we don't have to wipe in the 318 conversion.
Was there anything else you wanted to talk about with this free flight idea, Vertigo?
Not really. Like free flights are never a bad idea. It's always nice that CIG tells us ahead of time so we can start advertising as content creators. Like, hey, get the free flight. Here's a giveaway.
Here's try it out.
You're
interested in it? Do it. Yeah.
You don't have to take my word. You don't have to stop at my stream and ask me, is Star Citizen worth my money, Vertigo? There we go. Here's the webpage. Just sign up and just download the game and just figure it out for yourself.
Play it.
And then here's the pledge store. Here's how much money you could potentially spend. If that pisses you off, then maybe Star Citizen isn't for you.
Yeah, we've had that conversation many times.
The answer is probably no.
No. I'll say that I'm torn because I'd much prefer 317.2 to be the free flight because they've already done one for 317.1. I get that those things, again, they take time. They have to schedule them in advance. They have to like get those things going. So it's not a simple like just they flip a switch and it's done. And they also have like marketing. They have the website tools because they have to set up a website for it and all sorts of things like that.
You know, it'd be really weird. Something that they probably will never do, but would be an interesting kind of, especially for those people who play every free flight.
Mm-hmm.
Let the free flight people get on the PTU.
Oh, that'd be interesting. If technically, yeah, you might be able to do so. But
so that because that would give them all the new stuff, but like say, hey, the server performance on these different tiers are going to be different.
Yeah,
and
this is
again,
the beta version of the game.
Yeah, this could go back to my argument about they should always have the two versions running, one unstable, one stable version of the game.
I understand why they don't, because they don't really have the teams for that. But I think we're getting to the point where that's going to be needed, because you're going to want to have more of a stable version, especially once you get to say like beta status, which I know sounds crazy, but CIG and Star Citizen isn't that far away from beta. I say not far away. I mean like 2 years. We could all be dead tomorrow. So it's hard to tell in this current age that we live in.
How is Star Citizen the fusion of gaming?
What do you mean?
It's always 2 years away.
It's always 2 years away. Yeah. Well, no, I mean,
I forget which one it is.
The fusion. Yeah, it's
Okay.
but we're at a stage where once they get PES, which is something they're definitely going to get done this year. The next major step is server meshing. And, once they get static server meshing, there really isn't much more to be added in terms of the back end. It's mostly just content. It's the professions. It's the locations. It's that sort of thing. And
I think the biggest thing after that is platform integration. With the website. So that you can see your people from the inside. You can talk in-game, out of game. They said they want VoIP over the website.
They basically went Discord.
Yes.
For Star Citizen.
But
I think it's a mistake.
Discord that integrates so well with Star Citizen, you can interact with the game from Spectrum or
but there's no fundamental thing that like in the game, in the gameplay perspective, that's required on that. Like you don't need that.
We had games that had like email hookups for your email client years ago. I know Tribes, the OG Tribes, had like an email client built into it, which was pretty cool. But honestly, you don't see that stuff very much. You don't really see social media apps baked into a game.
Yeah,
I mean,
because it's almost like a waste of time.
As much as people hate it, it's because Star Citizen is a metaverse, guys.
It is.
I know it is.
As much as people hate it,
this wonderful Second Life simulator in space, the Matrix essentially, or Ready Player One kind of experience.
But my point is that we're getting to the point where CIG needs to start thinking about making a game that's playable, where CIG can go, this is a playable experience that you can enjoy, and also have a back end that they can mess with, like the different damage types. They can, how much damage this does, the balances in the economy, so they don't have to go through and wipe everything because of that. Yeah. But that's a completely different discussion. I'll finish up with saying, I understand why they're doing free flight. I'd rather they do it in 3.17.2, just because it would show progress to the people who are already there. But I also know that CIG 100% will get, because they've been getting 1,900 people signing up on the website a day.
Jeez.
1,900 average people a day have been signing up on the website for the last 3 months.
Accounts,
yes. Signing up on the website, not buying the game.
It may not be people. I have 2 accounts. I know people with more than 2 as well.
But
give me a second.
But if you have multiple accounts, that still takes time and effort to sign up for those accounts. And it's not someone just spamming that out there, because we're also seeing an increase in player and increase in social media interaction with it. So we know it's growing. So I get why CIG is doing it. Like, as you said, they got to hit while that iron's hot. People want to play this game. Give them the option to play the game. And if someone is like, hey, this was unstable, because here's what was everyone saying during the free flight. It's always better after the free flight, because Invictus always screws things up or whatever.
Yep. Yeah.
So now we've got a free flight that's not an Invictus, so there's no big event that's screwing things up, and it's going for 2 weeks. And it's probably going to have just every event under the sun running, because they want to show people the events. So yeah, I get it. I understand it. But with that being said, let's go move on to the last topic, and we'll start with this one, Vertigo. The more positive end for this. 317.2s in PTU. What is your experience so far? Good, bad? You already mentioned a little bit of it there, Vertigo.
I've been noticing that frame rates feel a little bit better.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's one of those things where Star Citizen for the longest time, I think, has a problem with the time between frames. You know, you got a frame per second, right?
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes the frame's just a little late. Sometimes the frame's a little early. Sometimes it's not stable frame rate. You know, it fluctuates really. It says it's 60, but it's not a steady 60. It's going between 45, 60, 45, 60, 45, 60, a whole bunch. It doesn't feel very smooth. It feels kind of shuddery, choppy sometimes. During the PTU, I was feeling like it was a very smooth, buttery frame rate in a few places. I'm just like, this is more than usual. This is more than I'm used to experiencing, and I enjoyed that. I'm looking forward to see CIG fixing up the network stuff. They released a patch for the PTU just recently. When I was playing with Dark and Yellow, I was talking about the rubber banding issues. That was like a patch before this one today. And there was still some little bit of rubber banding, but there was one point where I saw this guy rubber band, and then after he snapped back, it looked like he was just walking normally. Yeah. I'm just, wow, that almost looks like a game I could play, right? Almost looks like another game that I know, like Fallout or something. Fallout, Skyrim or something. It's like, hey, just some dude just walking through the marketplace. That's kind of cool.
I mean, to be fair, I've been playing Fallout 4 recently because I've been getting back into it. And the amount of T-posing and sliding around that game has is kind of bonkers, even after it's been released and fixed.
I am enjoying the Team Rocket elevator at elevators everywhere. You spawn into the game, you walk out of your hab, you walk up to the elevator at like the Asio Grand or something, or at the rest stop, you open the elevator door, opens up, you climb in, you press the button for lobby, doors close, open back up in the lobby. Like, what the hell? That was quick.
Boom. Yeah.
You walk over to the ASOP terminal, you call your ship out, you walk into the elevator, you press the button, go, and it's like 5 seconds. You get 3 kilometers over like 10 seconds. It's like, door opens, there's your ship, and it's just like,
I wonder if
I don't have to spend my life waiting for elevators anymore.
They did.
I wonder if they purposely
because
like a lot of people are saying, well, they're slow because they're load screens. No, they don't need load screens. No, they're slow because distance.
They're slow because Chris Roberts wants immersion. Like I talked to the person who actually developed.
If he wanted immersion,
those elevator systems,
have them clipping through the station.
Believe it or not.
So.
Go ahead.
They limited the speed of the elevators to what a person which you would realistically believe an elevator should be moving. Yeah. You actually calculate the
a person or Willy Wonka.
Well, they used to be transporters.
Yeah,
you got to remember they would close.
They'd close on you. They'd make noises at you, and then you just open up and they just teleport you to the.
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
But Chris Roberts, and like I said, I talked to the person who built this elevator system.
I know
they no longer work for CIG, by the way, for a reason.
Yeah.
But I got a better.
I'm not going to say anything. I'm not going to say anything. But Chris Roberts wanted physical moving elevators. Chris Roberts loves the idea of physicalizing everything. Mm-hmm. Everything has to be physicalized. Your character actually moves through the space. You climb into an elevator. No, it doesn't teleport you. The elevator actually moves through space. And they wanted to build actual tracks and rails for the elevators to move on in the level. And then someone explained to Chris Roberts they have to hire a whole bunch of new level designers to actually build this crap. And then they made elevators just phase through.
Walk-elevators. Yeah,
walk-elevators phase through to everything from one point. And you'd see that sometimes. You see the elevator, you see a marker for somebody above their head, you would see them just go through walls and stuff if you're in there in your party.
I wonder...
But they would limit the speed of the elevators to what you would realistically expect a person to be able to withstand in G-forces.
Mm-hmm. So it was that can be hand-waving away by future elevator tech.
I know. But Chris Roberts isn't going like Halo, where you have personal shield generators, and like Star Trek, where they have inertial dampeners. Mm-hmm. Chris Roberts doesn't want to go that high tech. There's obviously like this pullback on how much sci-fi he allows in his video games.
I wonder if the level, like the procedural interior stuff, is actually going to help. Because I've always thought, like, as an enthusiast for game development, I've always wondered, like, what would happen if they did physicalized elevator tracks. Not like physicalized, but like have them designed into the station and the interior built around that.
They did. Levski.
Yeah.
Grim Hex.
Yeah, but Levski is like, oh, you can see all their elevators and stations. It's so big they don't need to actually make those visible.
Well, they would
tracks.
have you would have essentially what they had on the Expanse or Star Trek. You'd have what other property had like turbo lifts?
Turbo lifts. That's about it.
But those are still
you'd literally
linear.
have a tube system where you'd have like the tube being pushed around by megs, and you'd be able to go to different tracks and whatnot. You just have little people movers.
Yeah, but they still be tracked.
Yeah, you still have tubes they'd have to move through.
Yeah.
Any other
Yeah, I
things?
think it would be really cool.
Any other thoughts about 317.2 PTU so far?
I'm enjoying the new missions, like the Reclaimer. I've been to the Reclaimer wreck site, and it is hideous to look at, and it's amazing because
the best way,
like,
the best part of hideous.
The best part about a junked crash ship, it looks like it's so immersive. Just it looks like it's been there for a while. It's destroyed the area. It looks like people have moved in temporarily to kind of turn into like this temporary kind of hideaway base that's like low key. Like we don't want you to think we're living here, so we're kind of hiding everything. But we are living here, so we gotta we can't improve the place too much because then people will realize we're living here, but we're not supposed to be living here. That kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I love the wreck settlements. I've been to a couple of them. It looks really cool.
Yeah, great.
So the artwork, I'm glad with the artwork they got there. I wish there was more of the stuff I could have visited, because I'm trying to figure out how to get the other Reclaimer missions and whatnot unlocked. I have to get through the rep system first.
Yeah, they're in different places. For those of you who don't know, the way you get the ruined sites, the ruined outposts, is through delivery missions. When I found them, you actually have to go pick up a box at them, and pull them out. I'll go next with this, then we'll finish up with Naz. I like it, but it's PTU. I will say this. If you're watching this more recently, right after the PTU comes out, it's rough. The frame rates are great. There's no crashing. I didn't experience a single crash when I played it today. So it seems to be doing pretty good, and the frame rates are good. It's just you'll see your party mates just like disco stew all over the place, and they'll just like zoom through. Like the wind will just knock you straight out of ships every time you exit. It's always terrible. But the wreck sites are cool. I haven't been able to get to the other Reclaimer sites, but the Snake, that's what it's called. The Snake Pit is great, which is the
oh man, I can't wait to talk about that one.
The race. There's a canyon system in Silo, whatever. One of Crusader's, not Crusader, Microtech's moons, which had been used by Cleo. Thank you. Who'd been used by race groups in the past, and what CIG did, the XGR, what CIG did was just build structures onto those areas and make it actually a quantumable location. So it was a nice little surprise to do that. There's a lot of like quality. 317.2, part of the reason why I wanted them to kind of hold off for 317.2, because it feels like this is going to sound blasphemous for some people, and also some people will just be confused. But it feels like, and there's a reason for this, feels like 2.6.3.
Okay.
For those who don't remember, 2.6.3 was the patch we got in like March or April of a year, and then they didn't do another patch until the end of the year when they did 3.0. So it was the only patch we got that year.
Oh yeah, the great content route.
Yeah, the great content route. It feels like that, where it's solid. If they just need to tweak a little bit here and there, and they need to improve a little bit of things here and there, and they could get a very solid gameplay patch, which we're gonna need because we're not gonna see another patch for this game until like October. So yeah. But
that was a tough year.
Yeah,
for content creation.
But
is it dying?
Yeah, it's actually not like the frame rate wasn't bad in PTU. It's actually, I agree with Vertigo where it feels like I'm getting more consistent frames.
Yeah.
The desync is really the issue, but it doesn't feel like a desync issue that's like unsolvable. It feels like there's just something they have to tweak. Like they tweak.
Yeah, they're going to be tweaking stuff.
Yeah, it's like they're calibrating it, which is why it looks weird, is because they've calibrated it too far one way or the other. So
yeah, I mean, they also bring up the point of like 3.0, 2.63.
Yeah.
Like these days, I feel like the floodgates of her content are opened.
Yeah.
Like everyone's like server meshing is going to create the floodgates, Vertigo, Pyro. Like no, they're adding a bunch more content these days, a bunch more missions. They're redoing old missions with new stuff. The ECN alerts and whatnot have been redone. I did a couple of those. Those were fine. Ninetails Lockdown, Siege of Orison, Casino Threats, Jumptown 2.0. We're getting a lot more content the past 2 years.
Yeah.
And it's something I have to keep mentioning to myself to kind of remind myself and other people that have been around. We are getting a lot more these days than we used to ever get.
Yeah. And we're getting complete
That's a
overhauls.
great sign of progress.
We're getting complete overhauls of mission lines, complete from the beginning, you know. Naz, your thoughts on 317.2? Yeah.
So I've only been able to play and do it in the PTU since Vertigo's been talking.
Okay.
it didn't let me in last night for some reason. So I'm sitting at the Voyager bar right now in Orison. I'm getting 34 frames. Or 35. It's been pretty 30 frames in Orison, which is amazing. It looks great. However, the NPCs are walking in place.
Yeah.
But it looks really good. There's a lot of content in here. Like I keep forgetting. Like one thing you guys haven't touched on is the new Lagrange points that are coming in.
Yeah.
Like there's so much stuff in here. Isn't the illegal missions in here as well? Illegal box missions.
Yeah, with Redwind.
That's my big feature for this patch is illegal box mission rep. So there's actually a lot to do for the next couple months while we wait for the PTU of 318. And I say that because I will be switching over to 318 PTU as the second it's available to me. Because cargo refactor.
Yeah.
It's literally the reason I play this game is 318. So, but yeah, as far as like the floodgates and everything, we thought like we were not going to get another update for a year or so while we wait for server meshing when they took out Levski. But after they took out Levski, it seems like they never stopped adding more stuff. We got the stuff they added in when they took away Levski that they needed to remove Levski for. But then the next patch we got Orison and then Orison V2, and now we have all these moons and more caves and outposts and derelicts and stuff now. And they haven't stopped. Like there is more content than most players know is in the game.
Yeah. I mean, Unknown Guardian also points this out. Small ship hangars on stations. All stations with small ship hangars, which is great. I mean, I know a lot of people like the pads, but I just don't want to die.
All-Star.
Pads are more convenient, but if you're trying to prevent people from like messing with your stuff, hangars are
because
you could just get into your ship, turn the power on, get the shields charged up, open the hangar door, then you go.
Or you're the moron who said, "Don't forget to put on your flight suit before you leave New Babbage." You arrive at the space station in your Aurora.
Yeah.
And you don't have a helmet with you.
Yeah,
the opposite is going to happen? That you're going to get into your Aurora, you're going to leave the station, you're going to land on Cleo, get out and suffocate as soon as you get out of your spaceship.
But I've done that. I've launched from New Babbage. Like, okay, don't forget your spacesuit. And I forgot my spacesuit. I'm at like Tressler or something. Like, back to Babbage.
Yeah, forgot about that.
Because it's just like you can't do anything. Now you can get in with a small ship.
Yeah,
and I'd love for them to actually give you the option to choose between hangar or pad.
I think that's a future thing. I also think that they're going to get rid of pads because pads are going to be more like emergency landings in the future.
Yeah,
where people are like, oh well, you're just going to stop and get gas. It's like you're not getting gas on a pad. You're going to go into a hangar to get gas.
Yeah, no one wants to do a spacewalk to get you fuel.
No,
why wouldn't you? Like that makes perfect sense. You just run a hose out.
Well, if it's self-serve, probably.
Yeah,
but if it's
even full service, you just run a hose out there and like check some stuff for the pilot, check some fluids, fill the hydrogen fuel, disconnect, and just they leave. You still have quick service. Hell, you probably just have a hose like the back end of the Starfarer,
but not with repair.
Just hanging out into space,
especially when repair changes.
Changes probably full service would be hangar, and then quick service would be.
Quick service would be like just the hose hanging out the end, and you have like a drone just fly around the ship and check for damage, and then you fill it up and just leave.
Yeah.
That'd be quick service. And they do have that. They do have different brands of that they're going to do for repair stations.
Repair stations,
Man.
CTR.
When are we going to get the nostalgia patch?
After
Tessa
4.0?
Bannister and the CTR, Cryastro. We need the nostalgia patch.
Yeah. And we'll get those drones back too, those repair drones. But I do not think we're going to see like repair on the fly. You're going to have to go into a hangar. In fact, I almost can guarantee you they'll have hangars which are just specifically, hey, I need to get repaired. Go to this hangar because this is hangar.
No, they were going to do handheld repairing. You're going to be able to. The multi-tool is going to have a repair tool.
Yeah, but that's more that's patch, not repair. You know,
I don't think you'd be able to put a wing back on with a handheld thing.
No,
they've already
you'll be able to patch hull breaches. You'll be able to repair like components inside of your ship, like a power plant or something. You know, give it a few extra, hit points just in case.
Yeah, but I mean, I do not think that we're going to see a ton of pad usage in the future, and I think most of the stuff will be moving to hangars in general. Because it looks better. CIG likes it looks better, and it also is more convenient for people, especially since CIG doesn't want you to use your suits all the time. And so it's one of those ways.
Yes, they want to encourage civilian clothes usage, which I, for one, am greatly enthusiastic about. There we go.
Yeah. All right. I think that's our discussion for today. It was a nice, I was expecting to be a little bit shorter, but it was almost exactly 1 hour. So thank you all for joining us. Make sure if you were watching this on Twitch, make sure you hit that follow button here because we do this not every Saturday. We do it on Saturdays at 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern. If you're watching this on YouTube, make sure that you hit that subscribe button because we're trying to get that all the way up to 1,000. When we reach 1,000 subscribers on YouTube, I will be giving away a Talon. So, courtesy of CIG. So,
Bird ship.
It's LTI, game package, all that kind of good stuff. So make sure you hit that subscribe button and keep an eye on the channel. And make sure you're following and subscribed to HCVertigo and Nazeris on their social medias. They're fantastic. You can catch their content all the time. I highly suggest the Pathfinders podcast if you enjoy podcasts like this. And if you want to know exactly what's going on in the game at any time, and if you want to know any bug that exists in Star Citizen, HCVertigo will tell you and knows how to do every one of those. Vertigo has taught me many things to do in Star Citizen, which are not supposed to happen, which are funny as hell. Especially the learn to get guns past armistice zones glitch, which was
yes. Does it still work?
No, sadly. It was so bad.
That was the day.
Yeah.
Was it just that one PTU patch that happened in?
It was actually happened a couple other times too. There was one time I spawned inside ArcCorp and I just because my mouse wheel is not like movement speed, it's actually select weapons. So I'll be scrolling through like my ship list, and then I scroll down with like my Arclight equipped to me because I just start out with a new character. Your Arclight's usually on your hip. So I hit scroll down to find a new ship, and my character pulls out his Arclight. I'm like, I guess it's Doom today. I guess we're playing Doom Eternal now. Hey, bro, sorry about this.
Man, that'll be the patch when we can actually use weapons in Armistice Zone.
Soon, TM, never. All right, well. With that all being said, for those of you who are watching live, stick around. We'll be doing our question and answer session after the fact. And if you're watching this on YouTube, right above HCVertigo's head, you will see a link. If you don't see a link, that means that question answer is not out yet. But once it is out there, it'll be right up there. You can click that and go watch all of the question answers from the chat. And yeah, like I say every time, hope to see you someday in the black.